So are you trying to learn chest to bar pull-ups? Maybe you're someone that's been trying to learn it, but you still cannot get your chest to that bar or be actually able to get a good amount of reps in that range of motion. No matter what you try and do, you cannot get your chest to that bar. In this video, I'm gonna be going over some more tips that you can use to help you bridge that gap and start making chest to bar pull-ups something that you can do more consistently. Let's get straight into the video. So I've done quite a few videos on chest to bar pull-ups. I've got a whole beginner's guide and I've got a kind of the benefits of doing chest to bar pull-ups, and I highly recommend watching them. If you haven't seen that video, there will be a link to it down below or at the end of this video. But in some of those videos, I've had a few comments where people have been, sometimes they cannot get to that last range of motion, the last inch they can't get to. Some people want to be able to get to that end range of motion and hold it, and they just can't do it. Like they'll be able to get there and then they can't hold it. And there are some people that will be, I can do 2 or 3 reps if they're working on maybe sets of 5 or more. The first couple of reps they can do chest to bar and then they quickly taper off. And they wanted some extra tips on where they can go from there, what sort of extra work can they do to be able to kind of ingrain that chest to bar to try and make it a little bit easier. So before I go any further, the most important thing that I kind of want to emphasize is, although this is a pull-up, it's a chest to bar pull-up, we don't really want to be pulling like a traditional pull-up. So most people will be here and they're directly under the bar and they're just thinking just straight up. The problem is from here, it's quite hard to pull any further, even for me who does chest to bar. So we need to still kind of change the angle of our body. So instead of just being here and we're just thinking pull, we need to lean back. It's very, very subtle. It's not a huge thing. We're not going all the way back here and trying to turn it into a row, but there's a slight lean back. There's also a very, very slight but noticeable extension here. It's very, very subtle. It's going to be a couple of inches, but for many of you, it's that last couple of inches that are stopping you from doing your chest to bar. So it's very, very subtle. As we're here, instead of like our chest kind of being, you know, like the whole shoulder joint, everything's like internally rotated, but we're thinking about external rotation. We're thinking of getting that thoracic extension, opening up is what we want to do. We don't want to be kind of rounded and we're pulling. A lot of people, when they're doing their pull-ups, they're in this position and they're pulling the bars in front and they're very rounded in the back. Chest is kind of closed. We want to get that chest open. We need to get that chest not only open, but we need to lift it up. Like I said, the simple of being like this to lifting up, you can see there's a big movement here. We need to get the chest up and out of the way so we can actually pull to the bar. We need to get it up and so we can get it there. We don't want things in the way. We don't want to be closed in. That's probably the most important thing. And for some of you, that's something you really, really have to focus on. What you might find though is when you get yourself into that position, this is where certain weaknesses might come in. It could be something like a lot of people are so focused on doing their pull-ups that they're pulling with their arms and they realize that when it comes to their scapular control and strength, they don't really have a lot. So for some people, some basic hanging from the bar and doing those scapular pulls can make a huge difference. Look at the difference in my arm length and how hard I have to pull now from here to here. That is a big difference. So sometimes just practicing not just the scapular pulls, but just thinking of pulling the chest to the bar in a dead hanging position. Getting reps of that in could be really, really beneficial, and actually training the muscles and actually training the movement of you to consciously think of lifting that chest up, but also having the muscles to stabilize that while you're on the load. Those are some key things there that will probably, for the majority of you, will fill in those gaps. So like I said, it's making sure you're getting that chest up, get it open this whole area, lift that chest up, get into thoracic extension. And like I said, for some of you, you might not be used to that position. So it's literally hanging from the bar. Instead of just going into a dead hang, really think, pull up like that. It's a very, very simple movement, but I can really feel, especially my lower traps. Some of you that have been trying to practice the front lever, maybe doing something like this, but we're really just pulling that down, getting that chest up and having the strength. That will probably help a lot of you to get that stability and that strength in that movement and going through that movement. Let's say there's going to be some of you that are still struggling with that, and maybe you're getting into that movement, you can't get the reps in. Maybe that end range is still difficult, but you'll find something as simple as getting into this position, getting into thoracic extension, and then kind of not just thinking pull up, but kind of row. Now it's so much easier. But to try and come up here and hold it is still very, very challenging. So it's something that I sometimes struggle with. And what I actually find is that end range position can be quite challenging to hold with the pull-up. But if you want to spend time in there doing some negatives, so a lot of time you might have the strength to do it, but you use up your strength with the actual pulling, where sometimes something as simple as hopping up and trying to hold it can be really beneficial to get in some time with attention in that end range. The other thing you can use is something as simple as an elastic band. You might have to get a heavier one. This is the thin one that I've got. So the only issue you might find with the resistance band is it helps you the most at the bottom. That's where we're getting the resistance from. So if you've got a slightly higher bar, you might be able to get a bit more tension, you can pull it down. This might help, but a thicker bar might be more handy than this one, but this might be able to help you to hold that in range a little bit more. You might find it might be better, instead of wrapping it on your knees, you wrap it on your feet. So you're getting more of a stretch to maybe help. Using resistance bands can be really, really handy. The negatives, like I've just shown you, can be really, really handy. Sometimes actually changing your grip. So I don't have anything here that I can do neutral grip, but neutral grip is far, far easier to get to chest the bar and actually hold that position. You know, I think this position kind of restricts your movement, forearms or the wrist joint, makes it a bit more difficult, but in here, they don't seem to get in the way. It seems to be far more comfortable to be able to pull up and then actually hold this position. Far, far easier. Or if you don't have access to do a neutral grip, chin-ups tend to be a nice one that you can pull, actually get your chest to the bar far easier, and then hold that position. So you might find switching grips can be really beneficial and actually allow you to spend some time in there, because sometimes it might just be that spending some time in there with the neutral grip or the chin up, get some time and attention, hold that position, but also getting into that top position and squeezing the shoulder blades together while you're there can allow you to develop that strength. And if you do enough time there, do enough reps there, you then might be able to transfer that over towards doing the pull-up. You might need a little bit of assistance with the use of a resistance band in that position, but these are all things that you can use. But like I said, the key things you're going to find is really emphasizing the thoracic extension, getting the chest up and clear, and actually probably doing those scapular pulls with the actual lifting the thoracic spine will probably benefit most of you. But those other tips there will allow you to get in some volume, some reps, some time and attention in that end range, and allow you to sort of train, because for most people, they're so used to going chin over the bar, or in some cases, if people have been doing it for such a long time, you know, they're going from here and then they're going, so now look, you know, I could be 4, 5, 6 inches away from the chest of the bar. That's now a big range of motion to go, and they're still trying to pull like a traditional pull-up. So hopefully these tips help you to take your chest to bars further. If you need more information, please comment down below. I also have a Telegram group. I will leave a link to it down below. This is to sort of help any of you that want more of a direct communication with me. If you want any questions, if you want to have more updates on when it comes to the channel, content, things like that, check out that. It'll be in the description or the comment section. So if you want to join that group, it would be great. And you guys can actually help each other out, because there might be some information on there that some of you might have more experience with, possibly than me, or more advice. We can actually help each other to use calisthenics and fitness to become our fittest, strongest, healthiest version. So make sure you join that group, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you subscribe as well.